What's up, Hairbrained Nation? We're here at Gerard Scarpacey. I'm Tatum Neal from Elevate Hair. We're just doing a little bit of show prep for our big New York show tonight. It's our first time in New York doing Elevate Hair, and I'm personally super excited. I know Gerard is too, it's his hometown. You want to talk a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, hey guys, what's up? This is my beautiful model, Sonia. Sonia. It's hard with the Brooklyn accent to say that. Sonia. And I'm doing just a little bit of something inspired by my good friend Tracy Sakasitz, who we did an HB Live with last week. She just got a little bit more creative with a long layered shape by breaking it down into panels. So I kind of put these panels in, and we're starting right next to the beautiful face here. And I'm cutting some shorter face framing pieces. But what I really love about this, and I stole this from Tracy, is the way this diagonal section from the back cuts in and will keep a little bit of extra length here. So I can cut some of these shorter layers a little bit more dramatic. You'll get a good idea right here, because you can see how that cuts in. So we keep that front corner. Simple but brilliant idea from my friend Tracy. It cuts in right in front of the ear, so we can keep that corner, but we can layer it shorter next to the face without having to be too extreme in the angle. Combing it down, around, very natural fall. And then I'm kind of freehanding it in. I see the line and I add to the line each time. Point cutting with the scissor and just getting a little bit of a face frame from the nose into right below the jawline. I'll come back and soften that up a little bit with some elevation.
Hey, Katie. Hey
guys, anybody out there that is in the New York area? As Tatum said, tonight we have our Elevate Hair event. We're here at 14J Salon, which is beautiful salon that is co-owned by Frank Razzieri, our good friend, and David Adams here in Tribeca in New York, and we're prepping here. And we're gonna let you guys walk around in a minute so you can see some of the other artists who are gonna be on stage tonight. You can see here, I'm elevating this section, and I'm starting to take the corner off here a little bit. Very, very simple. But first I put that outline in. Now I'm just kind of taking that corner off next to the face. And then as the hair starts to dry, we can do some more detail work on the face. Now some of this hairline hair up here, I'm gonna use a little bit of sliding, because that hair is always gonna be, it's just like a micro kind of cut right there. That'll just disappear.
Telling you to have fun tonight.
Thanks, buddy.
Telling everybody to have fun tonight.
So you can see where this drops off, and then later when I come to layer the back, this length is already down in here, and it'll just invisibly drop in as I concave layer it. I'm gonna come over to the other side now. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing in this panel while Tatum walks you around and introduces you to some of the artists that we're gonna see tonight at Elevate Hair New York City. Take it away, Tatum.
Yeah, again, thanks to 14J for hosting us. We have about 20 hairdressers tonight, 7 o'clock, Bowery Electric if you're in town. We've got about a quarter of them here, so I'm gonna just walk you around, let them introduce themselves. Let's start with this guy right here, Taylor.
How's it going? I'm Taylor Lambert. I'm a hair cutter here at 14J. This is my model, Jackie. Today we're doing, everything's about texture. So I'm using the R Sessions texture iron, retexturing iron. Go ahead and put a nice coil in there. We prepped with a little a volumizing tonic from Aveda. And I'm basically gonna set her into a nice coil, and I've prepped some extensions over here as well. And on stage, we're gonna recreate some texture in Jackie's hair.
So I'm guessing big hair tonight.
Big hair, big
awesome.
raw texture.
Sid Sotong saying hello from England.
How's it going?
And said hi to you too, G.
Sid, I owe you an email. I'll be in touch soon, I promise. Promise I'll be in touch soon, Sid.
What's up, guys? My name is Kayed. I'm based out of Richmond, Virginia. This is my model, Keisha. And yeah, just kind of doing a graduation technique. Mostly square, keeping it tight to the head. It's cool because I'm working with Cassandra, shout out Cassandra, with her last cut at IBS. So she has some really short pieces here. And so I'm really just kind of grab the back and kind of give it a good short length on top. Just kind of going with that last cut, which would be really cool.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool, let me show you my model real quick. So tonight we're going to be doing kind of an edgy bob, which she kind of has already, but all this we're going to take down to the core, and then I'm just going to let the energy, the night sort of flow, and we'll figure out what's going to happen later. You'll have to stay tuned and see what happens next.
Right on.
You got Dan over here? Hey.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm from outside of Philadelphia. This is my model, Katie. What I'm going to be doing is just working with a little bit more of a classic shape and doing some graduation on her. Something a little heavier into the front. So nice longer side on her heavy side, and then something cropping out. I'm going to carve out her jaw on her weaker side. Starting with something shorter, going into something heavier and longer.
Cool, thanks.
Sweet.
What's up, Steve?
And we've got Mr. Aaron Johnson, who's sort of a semi-regular here to Hairbrained.
What's up?
You want to tell us what you're doing?
Well, I'm just kind of parting off right now. I haven't really gotten
Get to
into
it.
it too much yet. I know we're going to work like a really tight kind of layered shape through the side and through the kind of interior of the back here. Leave a little bit of this length through the nape. And then she's got this little kind of like short piece from a previous haircut that we did. So we're going to use that as a guide for a fringe that comes to the inside, but then leave length that kind of hangs over the top of it. So it's just a short, creative little shape, just to sit with her natural kind of fall of the hair.
Nice, thanks.
So let's go talk to Ryan real quick. He just finished up this color. You guys, this is Ryan.
How are you? So it's Sierra here.
And Ryan, wait, hold on. You have an interesting Instagram handle. What is it?
Hashtag Runchi. Yeah, RUNECHI. Like
I'm trying to find Ryan Belden.
Yeah.
Won't work.
And so with Sierra here, a couple of things that I'm working off of is I want to balance out density. She has some previous damage and obviously much finer around the hairline. So back in here, got a little triangular panel that we're going to cut out, undercut. And
Katie Butler's giving you a shit big.
What up, Katie? Katie Butts in the house. And then we really want to work her length off of these gorgeous cheekbones that she has. So I want to come slightly lower on one side asymmetrically and higher on the other. Again, working with the depth and the density of her ends, filling it in and then come nice and clean over top with a strong line. What up, Katie?
Thanks for sharing.
Right. All right, let's get back to Gerard.
Who's this guy?
This is Mr. Frank Brazier. You want to say hello to the Hairbrained crowd?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
This is
Are you going to be joining us tonight, Frank?
I'm gonna be there.
Are you going to get up on stage? I don't know if there's enough room on that little stage for two.
Two,
Let's bring
yeah.
in the big guy, too.
Yeah, right.
Michael. And
Definitely
then,
not
what
enough.
about, how tall are you? You must be like 6'7"?
I'm like 6'6".
It's a small stage.
It's a small stage.
Yeah,
So I'll keep you guys up. I'll
Yeah,
stay
the
in
place
back
we're at
row.
tonight is kind of like a little CBGB's type place. It's on the Bowery here in New York, which is kind of renowned as being kind of, you know, the rock capital of the world, a place called Bowery Electric. Anybody in the New York City area, come and see us tonight. We'll be there from 7 till at least midnight. Totally complimentary to come in. Beautiful bar where you can have fun with all your friends. All right, so back to my lovely model here. You can see I've done this lock on the other side and just opened up around her face, and that'll disappear until the rest of the length. Now I came right into the back here, and I started in the center with a vertical section to do some concave layering to really lean this out and bring out movement. Coming up, you can see the guidelines already in there, finding my shortest point, opening and closing the scissor while sliding my hand so that I can do something a little more extreme in terms of the concave than I could do technically. Maintaining all the length, that's what Sonia.
Sonia.
See that? The New York mouth, the Brooklyn mouth just can't do it. Sonia.
You can do like Sonia though.
Sonia.
Sonia. Close enough though.
Sonia. My model, Sonia. It sounds Russian. Do you have like a Russian thing going on?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, no over direction here because the angle is so extreme that I don't have to worry about losing length. You can see everything from the top of the ears down is dropping away. And just opening and closing. Lots of times people call this bias cutting. I think that's, just a simple kind of explanation of the technique. Comes from a beautiful technique that we learned at Sassoon many years ago, but applying it in a different place in a different way. So just allowing the fingers to slide through so you can maintain a more extreme length, but in a technical way. You can do it in a more freehand way with a razor. You could slice, you could slide, but I was just feeling a little more technical here to just kind of put a little more shape in.
I'm happy to pass on any questions you have for Gerard.
Yeah, guys, any questions you might have here about this technique? Very salon friendly, with a little bit of edge, breaking the haircut down into different components, which I think is a big part of it, so that you can manage it and perhaps get something a little bit more unique out of it. I was totally inspired by my good friend Tracy Sakasitz last week. She did a long, very, very long, much longer version than this. and a bit, more technical and clean and sharp. I'm trying to loosen mine up a little bit more, but really was inspired by her technique, and I wanted to try it out myself. And I think that's what these videos are all about. It's about exposing ourselves, these HB Lives, to different people, different artists, and then trying their techniques and trying to make them our own. So you can see straight up to the ceiling. You can see the guideline here. Of course, it's a little bit softer than if it was cut traditionally or club cut or whatever the terminology you want to use is. I'm even working into some of those shorter pieces around the face because they shouldn't reach at all, really. But if there's any stray pieces or anything, this will tie it all together, just to make sure that that works nicely. The elbows do the work here. You just lock in, and then you let your elbows go from floor to ceiling. I think sometimes people go after it with the scissor or the holding hand, and that sometimes can bite into it a little too much. It's the elbows. I'm just kind of going like this. That's what works best for me. So it's like a cut in motion. Let's have a look here. All right, you can see that shorter stuff around the face disappears into the length, and then that little extra corner of weight there just brings out something fun. Bringing out some texture by taking that weight off the top. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side, kind of in reverse. So I'm going to walk backwards on this side because the most important thing is to have the scissor coming from the bottom. So if I was to change body positions, I don't think I would be able to execute this. So I stay in the same body position. Not much to cut. This is probably the original guide. Just checking it. You can see. Simple technique. Kind of like feeding the fabric through a sewing machine.
Lots of people sharing the video.
Oh, great. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate when you share. Sharing is caring. And that means, you think that it's valuable and you want other people to see it.
And if you have any questions for Gerard, I'll pass them on.
So we're joined here by Tatum, who was, as you saw, the host, did the introduction. And I want to make a pretty exciting announcement. It's exciting for me. I hope it's exciting for Tatum. We want to announce that Tatum Neal is going to be joining us at Teach-In at NAHA this year.
Super excited.
Yeah. We've got an incredible lineup. If you guys aren't familiar with the lineup, you can check out our Instagram. Maybe Tatum, if you've been following along, you know who some of the lineup is.
I mean, I know Ira's going to be there. I'm excited about
Ira
it
Pope
alongside her.
Sage is going to bring a little bit of wild to the Teach-In. And what about you? What are you thinking about when you think about Teach-In?
Well, for me, it's just a great opportunity. Teach-In was really sort of the foundation for Elevate Hair, and what I like about Teach-In and what I tried to bring into Elevate
So
Hair.
you're admitting that you stole our idea and you made it your own.
Well, I just added the DJ.
And that's what great people do, right?
You're
like a little Steve Jobs.
Yeah, there you go. I just really love that it's sort of kind of brand neutral, and it allows for people from different brands and to come together. And so with Elevate Hair, it's the same thing. Like different salons, it's a local hair show, but different salons, we tend to kind of isolate from each other, and I think it's kind of sad because we're all just hairdressers. So
if there's anybody out there that doesn't really know what Elevate Hair is, give them a little bit, background of what you've been doing and what we've been doing over the past, I guess it's like 18 months now,
yeah,
right?
18 months. So it just started off as like a locals hair show, or actually it was kind of like we would go to bring in sort of Gerard and these sort of hairbrained guys into different markets like Houston, Dallas, Nashville, and it really evolved into a locals hair show. So now we just go into like New York. These are all guys within the tri-state area or New York, and we just give them a platform so they can come and be on stage. And what's cool about it is because we're pretty brand neutral, is that we get people from all walks of life, and that's my favorite thing about it. It's just really a good community sort of networking event. And the other great thing about it is it's sort of contrary to most hair shows. So there's no talking. So there's no sales. It's just like really good music and some drinks and some good times.
Are you DJing tonight?
I'll be DJing. I've got
Is Chad DJing?
Chad's gonna DJ. And
Chatty Shack in the house.
and I've got my friend Nick. So it'll be a really good dance party tonight. And I think Ryan's gonna DJ a little bit at the end too. So we might have 4 DJs on stage tonight and 20 hairdressers. And then Aaron Johnson's gonna DJ too. Although I'm a little afraid of that.
We want to hear some Soundgarden, Aaron.
Oh, nice.
We need to hear some Chris Cornell. All right, guys, so as Tatum was talking away,
We've got South Wales in the house.
I worked the second side exactly the same way. I took clean vertical sections, elevated them really quite high up to the ceiling, decent amount of tension here to keep this hair organized since you're working so loosely, found my guide, opened and closed my scissor, and slid up to the ceiling. It's actually quite simple if you practice it a little bit. I followed that all through. So that got a good bit of layering happening here. You can again see how it's falling over those shorter pieces next to the face, which gives it a little more edge than just a traditional face frame. She's young and pretty, has a little more edge than that. Now the next thing that's super important that sometimes we skip when we do long layered and concave shapes is to think about the corner. This corner between the outline and what I just layered can make the hair look really wiggy and not have a lot of life to it. So I come straight out, I find that corner, and since it is a loose haircut, I'm gonna loosely take away the sharpness of the corner. And I want you to see, I don't know if you'll be able to see through the phone here, but the difference between the hair around it and that hair. It really changes it from here down. The layers change it from here, taking the corner off changes it from the middle to the bottom. And maybe if the hair is super thin, you might leave the corner off, but on thicker hair, it can make it look wiggy, which sometimes is what I really dislike about concave layered shapes. So I have you can either technically round this corner off, or you can soften it up using a little slicing like I'm doing there, and begin to free that up. As I work through to the front, it'll be important to over-direct. I didn't over-direct with the original layers, but with this corner, because I'm working so close to the hairline, I could lose the length around the face. So everything here is going to get over-directed back, and there'll be less and less to cut.
Allison is saying thanks, and she's watching from Glasgow.
Glasgow. I think it's Glasgow, right?
Yeah.
A Glaswegian. She's a
Frank
Glaswegian.
Ryland is saying thanks. He loves what Elevate's doing.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we were
Thanks,
we were out in LA at the Viper Room this year, because I know Frank's a California dude. I'm pretty sure that he is. I've seen him around the community for a while.
I could do a Facebook Live with Frank.
Yeah, definitely. I think he does some barbering and stuff, yeah?
And Mussolino just joined.
Frank Mussolino.
And look, for those guys...
It's official. It's
So again, you can see the one side. Now, and for me, the difference between, working and great, something could be working, but to make it better, taking that corner and softening it, carried the texture down through the ends and freed it up. It's a subtle difference, but for me, a huge difference. Now I'm going to do the same on this side, and I'm going to ask Tatum, what are some more plans for Elevate, and what have you guys been doing? I know it's evolved a little bit, and you're doing these pop-up events as well. Do you want to talk about that and how anybody could get involved?
Yeah, so we're going around and we're doing Elevate Up. And so Elevate Up is like a small in-salon pop-up. And my dream with Elevate Up is I want these things to happen everywhere at the same time. So we're all elevating hair at the same time. So I can have someone in a salon in New Orleans, where I'm hanging right now, someone in Brooklyn, someone in London, someone in California, and we all kind of do it at the same time. So that's like my next
If
big
somebody's
thing for us.
interested, how do they get in touch with you?
Just
about
contact me on Elevate Hair, just direct message me, and we can work out you being a host.
So it'll be kind of like an Elevate orgy.
Maybe.
People will be elevating all over the place
Yeah,
together
we
at
can
the
just
same
elevate
time.
hair everywhere.
That's awesome.
But big news, we haven't solidified a date, but October we will be in San Francisco at the
What?
Chapel.
You didn't even tell me.
I know, that's coming up in October. So we haven't worked on a date yet, but that'll be happening. That's going to be really dope. And we've got
Well, you know
Nashville
what?
coming
That
up
makes me think of something very special, because we're wanting to do a scissor versus razor in San Francisco.
Oh, perfect.
And we have a great place to host it, and I'm sure they'll want to be involved in Elevate Hair. Do you know the guys from Edo Salon?
Yeah.
Edo, I'm sure they'll want to get involved. So there we go. We're making plans right now. We're making it happen.
Live plans. But Nashville, June 11th, that's coming up. We've got a bunch of great people there. So pay attention, anyone in the Nashville area. June 11th, Mercy Lounge.
Okay, so I've just got 2 panels left here. You can see simple, but for me, a very effective haircut. Got some shape around the face. You can see it's bringing out the wave in a nice lean way, or obviously could also be really straightened out and have this real kind of shag, shake, layer kind of a look. Sanya is growing out her bangs, although she looks gorgeous with them. But I get it, people are up for change all the time. One of the things that for me is going to help it to grow out but look fun at the same time, is to use a little mini version of what I just did. Let's find out where her length really is. It's probably somewhere in the middle right here. Yeah? And we're going to layer off a little bit of this weight behind it. So a little tiny bit of this corner, using kind of a freer form of what I just did. That'll help it swing a little bit, because what's going to happen as it gets long, she's going to have to push it to the side at some point. And I think she had a much heavier kind of fringe or bang before. So by kind of scraping or sifting through this corner a little bit, it's very razor-like now since it's beneath my hand.
We have the first question.
Oh, wow. Let's take
Juan
it out.
Alvarez
What's up, Juan?
asking how thick are the short pieces on the front, and what do you use to guide you on how short you should go?
Yeah, great question. So basically the key for me is to keep them in front of the ear so that it doesn't get too dreaded mullety, unless that's what you're going for. You can take it further. And then what I learned from my good friend Tracy last week was she does this little tricky thing where she comes in on a diagonal, just at the very corner of the ear in front, and keeps that part of the long hair. So it's really this hair that's short. And, you know, for me, I just use Sonia's bone structure. I went from the cheekbone down to the jawline. I carved it in, and then I kind of freehanded it a bit. You could also do it more blunt or more softly, but I think it just kind of helps to make things a little bit cooler. Okay, coming back up in here. Again, guys, we love your questions. It makes it more fun and interesting
Juan
for
said
us.
thanks, he loves that.
Hey, awesome,
Well, he
buddy.
said like, but I embellished a little. Little creative artist.
Hey,
Sorry.
you know, make it your own. You know, again, when you've been cutting hair for a while, this is my 26th year, you know, you have to look for little things that you see other people do that maybe make you go, oh, okay. I mean, I've been doing something like that, but never exactly like that. So let me give it a try and make it my own.
Got another question.
Yeah.
A good one from Branimir.
Branimir.
Yeah, good man.
Yep.
He's saying, Gerard, do you prefer elevation or finger angle for concave layers?
It's a great question. Comes right out of the Sassoon technical training on concave layers from the 70s. I will say that finger angle tends to keep more weight in the shape. So you're letting the hair fall more naturally and you're kind of cutting the angle in. Where elevation makes it tend to be lighter and freer. Could you break both of those rules? Yes, just like every rule. But generally I think, am I trying to do something that's going to look more structured and defined when I'm done? Then I try to cut the angle in. Then I try to cut the angle in. Am I trying to make something a little bit softer and more loose? Then I kind of elevate the angle in. So you can see here, this just kind of took a little bit of the weight off. In a way, it almost makes it look a little longer because she doesn't have all those like pieces over it anymore. So it's a little more definite. Now all we've got left is this little top area. And this is going to be super simple. It's going to visually be cut. You can see the shortest layers, you know, in these areas are here. This is going to be a little longer and it's going to fall over. So that's the kind of undercut. Undercut doesn't just mean buzz off the bottom, at least not to me. Anything where the top disconnects from the bottom in some way deliberately can be an undercut.
What's up, Ben?
I'm going to come through here.
Joined.
Ben, who's here?
No.
A different Ben.
Ben Crace.
Oh, Ben Crace. What's up, Bear? We shared, you know, one of the things that we do at Hairbrained is we like to curate the best stuff that we can find. And now that so many people are doing great Facebook Lives, we're going to be curating them as much as we can. We're kind of dialed in and we get to see everything. And when we see other people doing great Facebook Live stuff, we're going to share it on our page. We just shared something that Ben did today that was brilliant. So I hope you guys can watch that as well.
Okay, so we have a question from Ashley Renee. And she's asking, how difficult would the technique be for someone who isn't very experienced? Are there any tips you have for a novice?
Yes, practice and get experienced. I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere. It doesn't mean you can't try this, but I do think, you know, for me or anyone to really grasp what I'm doing here well, I have to understand square layering, I have to understand concave layering, I have to understand face framing. All that comes from classic haircutting, which, you know, nowadays is so accessible, whether, you know, you choose an independent educator to get it from, or you choose like Sassoon or Tony and Guy or Rojo. Get your classic education, build your foundation, and then it doesn't mean you can't try this. If you have a fun friend who's open and you want to try it, but trust me, the more technique you get under your belt, the better it'll be.
So we have a fellow, David, who just joined, and he's asking, how did you establish the guide around the parietal? And I think it might be good to elaborate on how he can go back and watch the video too.
Yeah, so the good thing about these videos, David, is, you know, once they're done, we save them in a library. We've probably got over 100 videos, well over 100 videos in our library on Facebook on the Hairbrained page that you can watch anytime for free. How did I establish this guide beneath here? It was totally visually. I came into the center back, I took a vertical section, I lifted it up, I imagined where I wanted the shortest piece to fall without collapsing it too much. I didn't want it to turn really kind of super lean, so for me that was about halfway. So I made the shortest piece halfway through, and I made the longest piece by where about the middle of the occipital bone is, and that's what they call a visual guide. I made that decision based on what I wanted to happen. It could be more subtle or it could be more extreme.
And Ashley said, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, Ashley, good luck to you, and I think, rely on Hairbrained. We're always trying to share education. We're doing more and more technical education and, affiliating with people that do technical education, and we're trying to bring it on the road so it's close to you. We've got quite a few classes coming up. We've got one in Los Angeles, one in Atlanta, and one in Houston, and those are all what we call scissor versus razor, where a master scissor cutter and a master razor cutter kind of compare and contrast different techniques. Kind of the same genre of haircut, but cut completely differently with two different tools. And I think that's a fun class. It's definitely kind of on the fundamental side with some edge and pop to it. And you can find those on the Hairbrained Pro website. Question?
Jonathan's just thanking us for doing these and saying that he's so grateful for all the amazing education and that it's free, and thanks for doing what you do. Also, Hairbrained Pro is my favorite spot to stock up on great tools.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We appreciate that. It's part of what we're educators, and we believe in reaching as many people as possible. But, we also have to build a business, and that's the business part. One of the business parts is Hairbrained Pro. So we use and recommend great tools, great scissors, great combs, and you can get all that stuff at Hairbrained Pro. If you ever have any questions, you can go right to the site and you can kind of email us and get the contact us information. So now I've got all those different components kind of working together and just moving the hair around. Moving the hair around. You can see even though there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different components in this haircut, because of the way they're planned out, they should all work together fairly well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dry her. We're going to stop the broadcast. I'm going to dry her off camera, and then we're going to do a little video of the finish, and we'll put it in the feed so that you can see it totally done.
A nice shout out from Sean Foley before you go.
Right on, Sean.
And an offer for you to do some color for somebody.
For me to do color? Oh, that would be scary. After 26 years, I've done color maybe 3 times, and I'm not good at it.
All right, we'll wrap up.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Elevate Hair, if you're in the New York City area tonight, come out and see us. And follow Elevate on Instagram so you can see all the great cities that we're headed to. Thank you, Sonia. You look amazing. We're going to do some styling here, and then we'll get some after videos up. But I think you can see that this can go straight, it can go wavy, just commercial, but with a little bit of an edge, and that's what I love. Peace.